The dinner roll was still warm when Kira's fingers closed around it. She'd been watching it for 3 hours, sitting on the edge of Luna Selene's discarded dinner tray, mocking her with its perfect golden crust. Her stomach had stopped growling 2 days ago, which she knew wasn't a good sign. Now it just ached, a hollow burning that made her hands shake as she reached for the half-eaten bread. The kitchen was dark, except for the moonlight streaming through the window above the industrial sinks. Midnight. Everyone would be asleep. She'd be safe for just a few minutes, long enough the door slammed open. Kira's heart stopped. The roll tumbled from her fingers back onto the tray as she spun around, and her wolf, weak, pathetic thing that it was, whimpered and tried to crawl deeper inside her. Because standing in the doorway, backlit by the hallway lights, was the most powerful werewolf in the entire realm, Alpha King Theron. His eyes blazed gold, his massive frame filling the doorway like he'd been carved from stone and fury. The air around him crackled with barely controlled rage, and Kira did the only thing her instincts screamed at her to do. She dropped to her knees, baring her neck in complete submission. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice hoarse from disuse. Luna Selene didn't like her speaking. "I'm so sorry, Alpha King. Please, I was just—" "Stand up." His voice was rough, dangerous, but there was something in it that didn't sound like anger at her. It sounded like anger for her. Kira didn't move. Couldn't. Her wolf was too terrified, and she was too weak. 3 days without food, and before that, weeks of nothing but scraps. She couldn't remember the last real meal she'd had. "I said stand up." Softer now, but somehow more commanding. "Now." Her legs shook as she forced herself upright, keeping her eyes on the floor. She was still in her maid's uniform, a gray dress that hung loose on her frame because she'd lost so much weight. The bruise on her ribs from where Luna Selene had shoved her into the doorframe yesterday throbbed with each breath. Theron moved closer. She could feel the heat rolling off him, could smell cedar and night air and something wild that made her broken wolf lift its head slightly. "Look at me." She couldn't. She'd been taught better. Omegas didn't look alphas in the eye, especially not the Alpha King. Especially not when they'd been caught stealing food like Common. His hand touched her chin. Gentle. Impossibly gentle for someone radiating such fury. He tilted her face up, and Kira had no choice but to meet his eyes. They were gold, but not with the anger she'd expected. They were gold with something that looked almost like pain. "How long?" His jaw was clenched so tight she could see the muscle jumping. "How long have they been starving you?" "I'm not—" She tried to look away, but his grip tightened just slightly. "I'm not being starved, Alpha King. I forgot to eat today. I was busy with my duties and— Don't lie to me." His thumb brushed across her cheekbone, and she realized with horror that she was so gaunt he could probably feel the bone. "I can see every rib through this dress. You're covered in bruises, and you were eating garbage." Shame burned through her. It wasn't garbage. It was just leftovers. "From 3 days ago." He said it flatly. "I can smell the age on the food. When was the last time you had a real meal?" Kira's mind went blank. She honestly couldn't remember. Something in her silence made Theron's control snap. He spun away from her, and she flinched back against the counter as his power exploded through the room. Not directed at her, never at her, but rolling out like a shockwave. The windows rattled. The dishes in the cabinets trembled. "Who is responsible for this?" His roar shook the walls. "Please!" Kira's voice broke. "Please don't. I'll be punished. Luna Celine will, Luna Celine." He turned back to her slowly, and now his eyes were fully wolf. "Your Luna did this to you?" She couldn't answer. If she said yes, she'd be calling her Luna a liar. If she said no, she'd be lying to an alpha king. Theron moved closer again, and this time when he reached for her, he was checking her over like she was something precious and broken. His fingers ghosted over the bruise on her collarbone, the healing cut on her forearm, the finger-shaped marks on her wrist. "You're an Omega," he said quietly. "I can tell by your rank. But there's something—" He leaned closer, breathing deep, and Kira's wolf did something it had never done before. It reached back. Theron went absolutely still. "What is this?" His voice had gone deadly soft. "What is this spell?" "I don't—" Kira shook her head. "I don't know what you mean." But he wasn't listening anymore. He was running his hands through the air around her, and she could see golden light sparking against something invisible. Something she'd never known was there. "Someone put a concealment spell on you." His words were coming faster now, rough with fury and something else. Something that sounded like recognition. "On your scent. They've been hiding your scent." "That's not possible. I'm just an Omega. I don't have a scent worth—" The spell shattered. Kira felt it break like invisible chains falling away, and suddenly the kitchen was full of her real scent. Wild honey and summer rain, and something that made Theron stumble back a step. "No," he breathed. "No, that's not possible." But his wolf knew. She could see it in the way his eyes went wide, in the way his hands were shaking as he stared at her like she'd just rewritten his entire world. "Mate," his wolf growled through his lips. "Mate." Kira's legs gave out. She would have hit the floor if Theron hadn't caught her, sweeping her up against his chest like she weighed nothing, which she probably didn't, given how much weight she'd lost. "I don't understand," she whispered against his shirt. "Luna Selene is your mate, everyone knows that. You've been together for 2 years. Selene is not my mate." His voice was granite. "She told me she was. 2 years ago she came to me and said the bond had snapped into place. I felt something. Not the true bond, but enough that I believed her." He looked down at Kira, and his expression was full of wonder and rage in equal measure. "She must have used magic to fake it, and she put a concealment spell on you to hide your real scent from me. But why? I'm nobody. I'm just a defective Omega who can't even shift properly. There's nothing defective about you." He said it with such certainty that her wolf actually believed him. "The spell was suppressing your wolf, probably for years, and I'm guessing Celine kept you as her personal maid to keep you close, to make sure I never got near enough to scent the real you." Kira's mind was reeling. She knew? She knew. Theron's arms tightened around her. "She knew you were my true mate, and she starved you and beat you and hid you away like garbage because she wanted my power for herself." The kitchen door burst open again, and this time it was Luna Celine herself, wrapped in a silk robe and fury. "Theron, darling, what's going on? Someone said you were down here making a racket." She stopped dead when she saw Kira in his arms. Her face went sheet white. "Put that thing down. She's been stealing food again. I'll deal with her punishment." "You'll never touch her again." Selena laughed, but it sounded nervous. "Don't be ridiculous. She's mine, my personal maid. You can't just—" "She's my mate." Theron's voice could have cut glass. My true mate. And you've been torturing her while pretending to be something you're not. All the color drained from Selene's face. Then her expression twisted into something ugly. She's nothing. She's a broken Omega with a defective wolf. You think the realm will accept her as their Luna Queen? You think she can stand beside you with any dignity? I saved you from a pathetic bond. Theron took one step toward her, and Selena stumbled back. Get out, he said softly. Pack your things. You have until sunrise to be off this territory. If I ever see you again, I'll have you arrested for assault, fraud, and use of illegal magic. You can't do this. I'm your Luna. We've been together for 2 years. You were never my Luna. He looked down at Kira, and his expression softened. And you were never my mate. You were just a liar who saw power and took it by hurting the one person in this world I was meant to protect. Selena opened her mouth to argue, but the power rolling off Theron made her snap it shut again. She shot one last venomous look at Kira, then spun and stormed out. Silence fell over the kitchen. Kira couldn't process what had just happened. Everything felt like a dream, or maybe a hallucination brought on by hunger. Alpha King Theron was her mate. Luna Selene had been lying for 2 years. She was going to wake up any second now on her cot in the servants' quarters. And this would all be... You're trembling, Theron said gently. I'm trying not to pass out. When did you last eat? 3 days ago, maybe 4. I lose track. His jaw clenched again. You're eating right now. I should get back to my quarters. I have duties in the morning. Your only duty now is to recover. He carried her toward the door. You're staying in my chambers tonight, under my personal protection, and we're getting you fed and seen by a healer. I can't stay in your chambers. People will talk. It's not proper for... You're my mate. He said it like that explained everything. The only thing improper is that I didn't find you sooner, that I let you suffer for 2 years while that woman played me for a fool. Kira wanted to argue, wanted to tell him this was crazy, that she couldn't just move into the Alpha King's chambers like she belonged there. She was nobody. A broken Omega who couldn't shift right, who had no family, no status, nothing to offer. But her wolf, stronger now without the spell suppressing it, was purring in contentment. Finally safe. Finally home. What if you're wrong? She whispered. What if I'm not really your mate? What if it's just, I don't know, leftover magic from the spell? Theron stopped walking and looked down at her. His eyes were warm gold now, full of certainty. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. He pressed his forehead to hers. You're mine, Kira, and I'm yours. And I swear on my life, no one will ever hurt you again. Wanting to see what would happen next, subscribe to this channel to get to listen to more of our upcoming exciting stories. Click on the subscribe button now. Thank you. Chapter 2. Kira woke to softness, not the thin, scratchy blanket on her cot in the servants' quarters, not the lumpy mattress that had springs poking through in 3 places. This was softness, like she'd never known. Silk sheets that whispered against her skin. A mattress that cradled her like a cloud. Pillows so plush she'd actually sunk into them. For a moment, she thought she was dead. Then she smelled cedar and night air, and everything from last night came rushing back. Her eyes flew open. She was in the Alpha King's chambers, actually in his bed, though she was alone. Morning light streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the entire packed territory. The room was enormous, decorated in deep blues and silvers, with furniture that probably cost more than she'd earn in a lifetime. She sat up slowly, her body protesting. Even the simple act of moving reminded her how weak she was. Her head swam, and she had to grip the edge of the mattress to keep from falling over. Easy. Theron emerged from what looked like a bathroom, already dressed for the day in dark pants and a white shirt that did nothing to hide the powerful build underneath. His hair was still damp, and Kira's wolf perked up at the sight of him. "I didn't mean to fall asleep here," she said quickly. "I can go back to my quarters now. I'm sure you have important—" "You're not going anywhere." He crossed to the bed, carrying a tray that made her mouth water. Scrambled eggs, bacon, toast with butter and jam, fresh fruit, orange juice. "And these are your quarters now. Or they will be, once we get you properly settled. I can't live in the Alpha King's chambers. People will think exactly what's true." He set the tray on her lap, his expression brooking no argument. "That you're my mate and under my protection. Now eat. All of it." Kira stared at the food. It was more than she'd seen in weeks. Her stomach cramped with hunger, but years of conditioning made her hesitate. Luna Selene had taught her that taking too much was greedy, that omegas should be grateful for scraps. "Kira." Theron's voice was gentle now. "No one is going to take it away from you. I promise." Her hands shook as she picked up the fork. The first bite of eggs nearly made her moan, warm and buttery and perfect. She forced herself to eat slowly, even though her body was screaming at her to shovel everything in as fast as possible. Theron settled into a chair beside the bed, watching her with an intensity that should have made her uncomfortable. Instead, it made her wolf preen. He was providing for her, protecting her, making sure she ate. "Tell me about yourself," he said after a few minutes. "Where did you come from before Silvercrest?" Kira swallowed her bite of toast. "I don't know." His eyebrows rose. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I don't remember." She set down her fork, her appetite suddenly gone despite her hunger. 6 months ago, the Border Patrol found me unconscious at the edge of the territory. I had these marks on my skin, like someone had carved symbols into me. Theron went very still. "What kind of symbols?" "I don't know. They faded after a few days." She pulled back the sleeve of the nightgown someone had dressed her in. Probably one of Theron's shirts, given how it swallowed her. "But I remember waking up in the pack hospital with no memory of who I was or where I'd come from. The healer said it might be trauma, that my memories could come back with time." "And have they?" "No." She picked up her fork again, forcing herself to keep eating. "It's just blank. I remember waking up, and before that, nothing. Not my family, not my pack, not even my name. One of the nurses called me Kira because I needed something to respond to." Theron's jaw was tight. "And Luna Selene immediately claimed you as her personal servant?" Kira nodded. "She was there when I woke up. She told me I was an omega with a defective wolf, that I'd probably been abandoned by my pack because I was useless. She said I was lucky she was willing to take me in, give me a purpose." She laughed bitterly. "I believed her. I didn't have any other option." "Did she seem surprised when she saw you? Like she recognized you?" The question made Kira pause. She'd never really thought about it before, but now that he mentioned it. "Yes," she said slowly. "Yes, she did. When she first walked into my hospital room, she went pale. Just for a second. Then she smiled and started talking about how generous she was being, but her hands were shaking. Theron stood abruptly and pulled out his phone. Finish eating. All of it. I'm calling my healer. Is something wrong? Everything is wrong. He dialed, pacing to the windows. This wasn't random, Kira. Someone did this to you deliberately. And Selene was part of it. The healer arrived 20 minutes later. A sharp-eyed woman named Mara who looked to be in her 50s, but moved with the grace of someone much younger. She took one look at Kira, and her expression went grim. How long has she been in this condition? Too long, Theron said darkly. I need you to examine her, thoroughly. There's a concealment spell on her, and I need to know what else might be hidden. Mara's eyes widened. Concealment magic. That's highly illegal without consent. I'm aware. The examination took over an hour. Mara had Kira move through a series of exercises, checked her vitals, drew blood, and then did something with her hands that made golden light flow over Kira's skin. The light caught on invisible threads, revealing patterns that made Mara suck in a sharp breath. Mother Moon, she whispered. I've never seen anything like this. Theron moved closer. What is it? It's not just a concealment spell. It's a full suppression working, woven into her bones, her blood, her very essence. Mara's hands traced the patterns in the air. Someone didn't just hide her. They tried to unmake her. Her wolf, her scent, her memories, all of it locked away behind layers of incredibly powerful magic. Kira's chest went tight. Can you remove it? Mara's expression was troubled. I can try. But magic this complex, this deeply rooted, breaking it could cause serious damage, possibly even death if her system goes into shock. The room went silent. What if we leave it? Kira heard herself say. Her voice sounded small. What if I just stay like this? No. Theron's response was immediate and fierce. You're not staying broken because someone wanted to hide you. But if it could kill me, then we'll do it slowly. He turned to Mara. Can it be unwoven gradually, layer by layer? The healer considered. Possibly. It would take time. Weeks, maybe months, and it would be painful. Each layer we remove will feel like she's being torn apart and rebuilt. I'll be with her through all of it, Theron said. He looked at Kira. But it's your choice. I won't force this on you. Kira looked down at her hands. They were so thin now, the bones standing out sharply. She couldn't remember what she'd looked like before. Couldn't remember anything about her real self. I want to know, she whispered. I want to know who I am. Then we start today, Theron said. The door to the chambers burst open before Mara could respond. Luna Selene swept in, all concern and grace in a pale blue dress that probably cost a fortune. Her hair was perfectly styled, her makeup flawless. She looked every inch the proper Luna. Theron, darling, I heard you had a healer up here. Is everything all right? Her eyes found Kira, and something cold flashed through them before she masked it with worry. Oh, you poor thing. You look terrible. Did you eat something bad from the kitchen? Get out, Selene. Theron's voice was ice, but Selene laughed like he'd made a joke. Don't be silly. I'm just concerned about the girl. She was my maid, after all. I feel responsible. She moved closer to the bed, and Kira's wolf whimpered. I really think she should come back to the servants' quarters. She'll be more comfortable with her own kind. She's not going anywhere. Theron, be reasonable. You can't actually believe. I said get out. He stepped between Selene and the bed, his power flooding the room. And don't come back. You're not welcome in my chambers or anywhere near my mate. Celine's perfect mask cracked just slightly. Your mate. Theron, you're not thinking clearly. That Omega has obviously done something to confuse you. Perhaps she's the one using magic. The only person who used magic was you. Mara's voice cut through the tension. And judging by the signature on this spell, you had help. Very powerful help. Celine's face went white. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't you? Mara's hands moved through the air again, and the patterns around Kira glowed brighter. This is ancient royal magic, the kind that's only taught to bloodline wolves of the highest rank. The kind that takes decades to master. She turned to Theron. Alpha King, this girl isn't just any Omega. The amount of power it took to suppress her like this means she's likely from a very powerful bloodline herself, possibly even royal. The room went dead silent. Kira's heart was pounding so hard she thought it might burst out of her chest. Royal bloodline? That was impossible. She was nothing. Nobody. A broken Omega who couldn't even shift. Celine's laugh was sharp and brittle. That's ridiculous. She's clearly just a damaged Omega who you recognized the moment you saw her. Theron's eyes were pure gold now. Who you immediately claimed and suppressed and hid away. Why, Selena? Who is she really? I don't know what you're... Who is she? Selena flinched back from his roar. For a moment, Kira thought she might actually answer. Then her expression hardened. Fine. You want to know? Ask her yourself when you break the spell. If she survives, that is. She smiled coldly at Kira. Good luck, little Omega. You're going to need it. She turned and swept out, slamming the door behind her. Mara was the first to break the silence. She knows exactly who Kira is, and she's terrified of what will happen when the truth comes out. Then we find out the truth. Theron returned to Kira's side, taking her hand. Starting now. Can you begin the process today? I can remove the first layer. It will be painful, but manageable. Mara looked at Kira. Are you ready? No. She wasn't ready. She was terrified. What if they broke the spell and found out she was someone terrible? What if her real memories were worse than not knowing? But Theron's hand was warm and steady around hers, and her wolf was finally strong enough to push through her fear. I'm ready. Mara positioned herself at the head of the bed, her hands beginning to glow with golden light. This is going to hurt. I need you to stay as still as possible and try not to fight it. The light touched Kira's forehead, and pain exploded through her skull. It felt like someone was prying open her mind with hot iron bars, peeling back layers of her consciousness. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. Her body went rigid, every muscle locked in agony. Theron's voice cut through the pain. I've got you. I'm right here. Breathe, Kira. Just breathe. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. There was only pain and the sensation of something vast and powerful breaking apart inside her. Then, suddenly, it stopped. Kira gasped, gulping air like she'd been drowning. Sweat soaked her nightgown, and she was shaking so hard the bed rattled. First layer is down, Mara said, her voice strained. Her wolf should be stronger now. The rest will take time. But Kira wasn't listening, because as the spell cracked, something had slipped through. A memory, not a full one, just a fragment, like a snapshot. A grand hall, marble floors, and a woman who looked like an older version of herself, wearing a crown and crying. I remember something, she whispered. Theron leaned closer. What? What do you remember? A woman. She looked like me. She was... Kira's voice broke. She was saying goodbye. Wanting to see what would happen next? Subscribe to this channel to get to listen to more of our upcoming exciting stories. Click on the subscribe button now. Thank you. Chapter 3. The pain came in waves. Each day Mara would arrive at dawn and remove another layer of the spell, and each day Kira felt like she was being torn apart from the inside out. Her bones ached. Her skin felt too tight. Her wolf clawed at the barriers that had held it captive for so long, desperate to break free, and through it all, Theron stayed. He held her hand when the pain made her scream. He wiped the sweat from her forehead when fever took hold. He carried her to the bathroom when her legs wouldn't work, and sat with her in the dark when the nightmares came. "You don't have to do this," she whispered on the third night, her voice raw from screaming. "You barely know me." "I know enough." He was sitting on the edge of the bed, his thumb tracing circles on the back of her hand. "I know you're strong. I know you've survived things that would have broken most wolves. And I know that my wolf recognizes yours, even when you can't remember who you are." The mate bond was growing stronger. She could feel it now, a golden thread connecting them, pulsing with warmth and certainty. Every time Theron touched her, it sang. Every time he left the room, even for a moment, her wolf whimpered at the loss. It should have terrified her. Instead, it felt like coming home. On the fourth day, the memories started coming faster. Running through darkness, her lungs burning, someone screaming her name, the smell of blood and smoke, hands grabbing at her, trying to pull her back. "No," she gasped, thrashing against the sheets. "No, please, I have to warn them." "Kira, wake up, you're safe." Theron's hands cupped her face, grounding her. "Come back to me." Her eyes flew open, and for a moment she wasn't sure which reality was real. The memory felt so vivid, so immediate. "There was a fire," she said, her words tumbling out. "The palace was burning. Someone betrayed us. I tried to warn." She stopped, confusion washing over her. "Palace? Why would I be in a palace? What else do you remember?" "I had a sister, a twin." The memory solidified as she spoke. "We looked exactly alike, but she was different. Harder. She wanted something I had, and Pain lanced through her skull and she cried out. "Easy." Theron pulled her against his chest. "Don't push too hard. The memories will come." But they were coming whether she wanted them to or not. That afternoon, while Theron was in a mandatory pack council meeting, Kira dozed fitfully. She dreamed of a great hall with marble floors and crystal chandeliers, a woman who looked like an older version of herself, wearing a crown of silver and sapphires. "My darling girls," the woman said, though her voice sounded distant, like an echo. "You must stay together. Promise me you'll protect each other." But the girl standing next to Kira, her mirror image, smiled in a way that made something cold settle in Kira's stomach. "Of course, Mother. I'll always protect my sister." Kira woke, gasping. She'd been powerful once. She could feel it in the memory, like a phantom limb. Her wolf had been strong and fierce, nothing like the broken creature it had become. And her sister. The door opened, and Luna Celine walked in. Kira's wolf snarled, pushing forward with a strength that surprised them both. For the first time in months, she could feel her wolf clearly, angry and protective and ready to fight. "You're not supposed to be here," Kira said, sitting up slowly. Her body still ached, but it was getting stronger each day. "I came to check on you." Celine's smile didn't reach her eyes. She closed the door behind her, and Kira noticed she locked it, The whole pack is talking about you, you know. Poor, broken little Omega who's managed to seduce the Alpha King with dark magic. I haven't used any magic. Haven't you? Celine moved closer, and there was something predatory in the way she moved. It's funny. You don't remember me, do you? But I remember you perfectly. Kira's heart started pounding. What are you talking about? I remember how perfect you were, how everyone loved you. Princess Kira, the golden child, the powerful one, the chosen heir. Celine's voice dripped with venom. Do you know what it's like to be second best to someone who shares your face? To watch everyone fawn over your twin while you're just there? The words hit like a physical blow. We're sisters? We're sisters. Celine smiled, and it was sharp enough to cut. You died 5 years ago. The entire Nightshade line died when I burned the palace to the ground. The memory crashed into Kira with the force of a tidal wave. The palace burning, her father's body on the throne room floor, her mother screaming, and Celine standing in the doorway with flames reflected in her eyes, smiling that same terrible smile. You killed them, Kira whispered. You killed our family. I freed myself. Celine examined her perfect manicure. And then I took what should have been mine all along. Your power, your scent, your destiny. She laughed. It was actually quite brilliant. Dark magic to steal your identity, a concealment spell to hide you away, and a little forgetfulness curse to make sure you never remembered who you were. I even kept you close, just in case the spells needed reinforcing. Why didn't you just kill me? Oh, I tried. But the moon goddess is funny about twins. Killing your mirror can have consequences. So I did the next best thing. I made you nothing. Celine's eyes glittered. And it worked perfectly for 5 years. I had power, status, and the most powerful alpha in the realm wrapped around my finger. Until you had to go and ruin everything by being his actual mate. Kira's wolf was pushing harder now, trying to break through the last remaining barriers. She could feel power building under her skin. Ancient and fierce. Theron will never believe you, Celine continued. By the time the spell fully breaks, you'll be too dangerous to keep alive. I've already planted the seeds. Whispers about dark magic, about how you're unstable, how you're a threat to the pack. And once you're gone, he'll come back to me. He always does. He knows what you are. Does he? Or does he just know what you've told him? Celine pulled a small vial from her pocket. The liquid inside was dark red, almost black. Nightshade poison. Ironic, isn't it? It's how I killed father. 1 drop in his wine, and by morning he was dead. They blamed it on a heart attack. Kira tried to move, but her body was still too weak. Don't do this. I don't have a choice. You're remembering too much, too fast. And once you're fully restored... Celine uncorked the vial. I can't let that happen. The door exploded inward. Theron stood in the doorway, his eyes fully wolf, power radiating off him in waves. Behind him was a man Kira didn't recognize, tall and broad-shouldered with dark hair and a scar across his jaw. Step away from her. Theron's voice was barely human. Celine's mask slipped completely. This doesn't concern you. This is between me and my sister. Your sister? The other man, Theron's beta, Marcus, Kira realized, stepped forward. That's interesting, considering Princess Kira Nightshade has been dead for 5 years. I have the official death certificate right here. He held up a document. Died in the palace fire along with her entire family. including her twin sister, Selene Nightshade. So either you're a ghost, or you're a liar and a murderer. Selene's composure cracked. You don't understand. She had everything. She was going to be queen. I deserved that power. You deserve a cell, Theron said coldly. He moved toward Kira, but Selene was faster. She lunged forward with the vial, aiming for Kira's throat. And Kira's wolf finally broke free. The shift happened so fast it was almost violent. One moment she was human and vulnerable, the next she was wolf and furious. But not just any wolf. Her fur was silver, pure, luminous silver that seemed to glow in the morning light. She was larger than any Omega wolf should be, with eyes that blazed gold and power that made the windows rattle. Selena stumbled back, the vial falling from her fingers and shattering on the floor. No, that's impossible. I took your wolf. I took everything. But Kira's wolf was fully present now, and it remembered everything. She remembered being Princess Kira Nightshade, first daughter of the Northern Alpha King. She remembered her power, her training, her destiny. She remembered the night Selene betrayed them all, driven by jealousy and dark ambition. And she remembered something else, something that made her wolf's rage turn cold and calculated, the silver wolf marking, the sign of the moon goddess's chosen, the mark that meant she wasn't just a princess, she was meant to be queen. Theron shifted beside her, a massive black wolf that radiated dominance and power. But when he looked at her, his eyes were gentle. Awed. Mate, his wolf said in the way wolves communicated. Alpha. Queen. Marcus moved forward, grabbing Selene before she could run. She struggled, but he was stronger. Princess Selene Nightshade, you're under arrest for regicide, attempted murder, use of dark magic, and fraud. You can't prove anything, Selene shrieked. She's the one using dark magic. Look at her. Silver wolves are extinct. Silver wolves are blessed by the moon goddess herself, Mara said from the doorway. She must have arrived during the confrontation. And they only appear in times of great need, to lead us through darkness. She approached Kira's wolf carefully, reverently. Princess Kira, the lost heir. The legends said you would return when the realm needed you most. Kira shifted back to human form, though it took effort. Theron immediately wrapped her in a blanket from the bed, shielding her from view. She was shaking, overwhelmed by the flood of memories and power and identity. I remember, she whispered. I remember everything. Selene laughed bitterly. Congratulations, sister. You've won again. You always do. I didn't win. Kira looked at her twin, her mirror, her betrayer. I lost everything. My family, my home, 5 years of my life, and you. Her voice broke. You were my sister. I loved you. Love. Selene spat the word like poison. Love didn't give me power. Love didn't make me special. I had to take what I wanted, and I almost succeeded. Take her to the cells, Theron ordered Marcus. Maximum security and postguards. She's dangerous. As Marcus dragged Selene away, she turned back one last time. This isn't over, Kira. I still have allies, people who benefited from the coup. They won't let you take back the Northern throne. Then they'll have to deal with me, Theron said quietly. His hand found Kira's, threading their fingers together. Because she's not alone anymore. The door closed behind them, leaving Kira and Theron alone with Mara. The spell is broken, Mara said gently. All of it. Your memories, your power, your wolf, everything has been restored. Kira nodded, but she couldn't speak. It was too much. She was Princess Kira Nightshade. Her family was dead, murdered by her own sister. She had a kingdom to reclaim, a throne that was rightfully hers, and she had a mate who looked at her like she was precious, even knowing the complications she brought with her. "I understand if this changes things," she said to Theron. "I'm not just an Omega anymore. I'm my mate." He said it firmly. "Everything else is details we'll figure out together. I come with a murdered family, a stolen throne, and a realm that probably thinks I'm dead. And I come with political complications, territorial disputes, and a tendency to be overprotective." He smiled slightly. "We'll make it work." Kira wanted to believe him, but as she stood there, wrapped in a blanket with her newly restored memories weighing on her, she couldn't shake Celine's final words. This wasn't over. Her sister had allies, people who had helped orchestrate the coup, who had benefited from the Nightshade family's destruction, people who wouldn't want the lost princess returning to claim her throne. But as Theron pulled her close and her wolf settled contentedly against his, Kira made a silent vow. She would find everyone responsible for her family's murder. She would reclaim her throne, and she would make sure Celine paid for every moment of suffering she'd caused. The broken Omega was gone. Princess Kira Nightshade had returned, and she was done running. If you're still listening to this story up to this point, why don't you subscribe to this channel to continue getting impactful daily stories like this? We would be most grateful if you can do that to help boost this video to reach everyone. Thank you. Chapter 4. Kira's body convulsed as the nightshade poison hit her bloodstream. Selena's vial had shattered across the floor, but a few drops had splashed onto Kira's skin, enough to kill an ordinary wolf. Her vision went dark at the edges, her heart stuttering in her chest. "No!" Theron caught her as she collapsed, his roar shaking the foundations of the building. "Mara! Mara!" But something strange was happening. The poison burned through Kira's veins like liquid fire, but instead of shutting down her organs, it seemed to be burning away the last remnants of the suppression spell. Her newly awakened silver wolf surged forward with a power that took her breath away. Royal bloodlines were resistant to most poisons. It was one of the moon goddess's gifts to her chosen leaders, protection against treachery. Kira had forgotten, but her body remembered. The silver light that had marked her wolf now blazed under her skin, pushing the poison out through her pores. She gasped, her back arching as power flooded through her like a dam breaking, and with it came the memories, all of them. 5 years ago, the Northern Palace. Kira stood in the throne room, wearing the formal dress her mother had chosen for her coming-of-age ceremony. Tomorrow, on her 20th birthday, she would be officially named heir to the Northern Throne. Tomorrow, everything would change. "You look beautiful," Celine said from the doorway. Kira turned, smiling at her twin. They were identical in every way except the eyes. Kira's were warm gold, Celine's were cold amber. "So do you. Mother says we can both wear crowns at the ceremony. You'll stand beside me." "Beside you." Celine's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Always beside you, never in front of you." "Celine, it's fine." Her sister waved a hand dismissively. "I'm used to it. Used to being second. Used to watching everyone fawn over the golden princess while I'm just there." "That's not true. Father loves us both equally." "Father chose you as heir." Celine's voice had gone flat. "Not both of us. You. Because you're stronger. Because your wolf is silver. Because the moon goddess apparently has favorites." Kira reached for her sister's hand. but Selene pulled away. I have to go. I have preparations to make for tomorrow. She left before Kira could respond, and Kira felt a chill run down her spine. Something was wrong. Something had been wrong between them for months, but she couldn't quite put her finger on what. She should have listened to her instincts. That night, the palace burned. Kira woke to screaming and the smell of smoke. She ran through the corridors in her nightgown, searching for her family. The throne room was an inferno. Her father lay dead on his throne, a dagger in his chest. Her mother was on the floor, trying to crawl toward him. "Run!" her mother gasped, blood bubbling from her lips. "Kira, run! She's—" Selene stepped out of the shadows, flanked by rogues with red eyes and dark magic swirling around them. "Hello, sister." Kira's wolf surged forward, ready to fight, but Selene raised her hand. A dark witch emerged from behind the throne, chanting in a language that made Kira's bones ache. "Did you know blood magic can do incredible things?" Selene asked conversationally. "It can kill. It can steal. It can transform." She smiled. "It can make a second-born daughter into a first-born queen." "What have you done?" Kira could barely breathe through the smoke and horror. "What I had to." Selene nodded to the witch, who began chanting faster. "You were always the special one, Kira. The powerful one. The chosen one. But power can be transferred. Identity can be stolen. And with the right spell and enough blood." She gestured to their parents' bodies. "Well, let's just say I won't be second best anymore." The spell hit Kira like a battering ram. She felt her wolf being ripped away, her power draining, her very essence being torn from her body. She tried to fight, tried to shift, but the dark magic was too strong. "Don't worry," Selene said as Kira collapsed. "I'm not going to kill you. That would be too risky. Twin magic is tricky. But I am going to make you forget. Forget who you are, what you were, everything that made you special. And then I'm going to hide you away where no one will ever find you." The last thing Kira remembered was her sister's face, twisted with triumph and jealousy as the world went dark. Kira came back to the present with a scream. She was still in Theron's arms, but now she was glowing with silver light, her wolf fully present and furious. The poison was gone, burned away by her royal bloodline's natural defenses. But the memories, the grief, the betrayal, the sheer horror of what her sister had done, threatened to tear her apart. "She killed them," Kira sobbed. "She killed our parents. She burned our home. She stole everything from me because she was jealous." Theron held her tighter, and suddenly the mate bond that had been building between them snapped into place with the force of a lightning strike. It was nothing like what he'd felt with Selene's fake bond. This was real, a golden cord connecting their souls, singing with recognition and belonging and fierce, protective love. Kira gasped as the bond flooded her with Theron's emotions. Rage at what had been done to her, grief for her loss, and an overwhelming need to protect her from anything that might cause her pain. "I feel you," she whispered. "I can feel everything you're feeling." "Good." His voice was rough. "Then you know I'm not letting her get away with this." Mara appeared in the doorway, taking in the scene with wide eyes. "The poison. My bloodline burned it out." Kira stood on shaking legs, Theron steadying her. "Royal wolves are resistant to most toxins. It's one of the reasons my family ruled for so long. We're hard to kill through conventional means." "Then Selene's coup must have involved massive amounts of dark magic," Mara said grimly. to overcome those natural protections for your entire family. Blood magic. Kira's voice was hollow. She used our parents' blood to fuel the spell. That's why she killed them first. She needed their power to steal mine. Theron's wolf snarled audibly. Then we end this. Now. I'm calling a pack tribunal for tomorrow. We'll expose everything she's done in front of the entire pack. She'll deny it, Kira said. She's been playing the perfect Luna for 2 years. People will believe her over me. Not when we present the evidence. Marcus stepped into the room, his arms full of files and documents. I've been investigating Luna Celine since you first suspected her. Communication records with known rogue leaders, financial transfers to dark magic practitioners, travel records that don't match her stated whereabouts. He looked at Kira with something like awe. And now we have the lost princess of the Northern Kingdom to testify. Will they believe me? Your wolf is silver, Theron said simply. That's not something that can be faked. Silver wolves are chosen by the moon goddess herself. When they see you shift, they'll know. The tribunal was called for the following evening, giving them barely 24 hours to prepare. The entire pack was required to attend. Hundreds of wolves gathering in the Great Hall to witness what would either be Luna Celine's vindication or her condemnation. Kira spent the day with Mara, working to fully stabilize her restored power. Her wolf was strong now, but 5 years of suppression had weakened her body. She needed to be at full strength for what was coming. Theron barely left her side, the mate bond pulling them together like magnets. Every time he touched her, she felt stronger, more certain, more ready to face her sister and demand justice. What will you do? He asked that evening as they prepared for the tribunal. After Selene is dealt with, you have a kingdom to reclaim. I don't know. Kira adjusted the formal dress he'd had made for her, silver to match her wolf, with the nightshade crest embroidered on the bodice. The Northern Kingdom has been without a ruler for 5 years. Someone must have taken over. Celine's rogue allies, most likely. They'll have installed a puppet government. Theron's jaw tightened. Which means reclaiming your throne won't be simple. Nothing about this is simple. She turned to face him. Including us. You're the Alpha King of the Eastern Realm. I'm the lost princess of the Northern Kingdom. Even if we wanted to, we're mates, he interrupted. Everything else is politics, and politics can be negotiated. Before Kira could respond, Marcus burst through the door. We have a problem. Celine just announced she's pregnant. The words hit like a bomb. Theron went absolutely still. What? She called an emergency gathering an hour ago, told everyone she's been carrying your child for 3 months. Marcus's expression was grim. She's claiming that's why she's been acting irrationally, pregnancy hormones. And she's suggesting that you're abandoning her and your unborn child for a strange Omega who showed up out of nowhere. That's impossible. Theron's voice was deadly quiet. I haven't touched her in months. Not since before I met Kira. I know that. You know that. But the pack doesn't know that. And a pregnant Luna makes for very sympathetic optics. Kira's mind was racing. The false mate bond. She used it to cloud your judgment, to make you believe you'd been intimate with her when you hadn't. But if she's actually pregnant, then the child isn't his, Marcus finished, which means she's been unfaithful, which is grounds for immediate rejection under pack law. We need proof, Theron said. We need her to confess, Kira countered, in front of everyone, and I think I know how to make that happen. The great hall was packed when they arrived. Hundreds of pack members filled the space, whispering and staring as Theron led Kira to the front. Celine sat in the Luna's chair, one hand resting protectively on her still flat stomach, the picture of wounded dignity. "Alpha King," she said softly when they approached. "I'm glad you're here. We have much to discuss about our future, about our child's future." "We'll discuss your lies," Theron said coldly, in front of the entire pack. He gestured, and Marcus brought forward all the evidence they'd compiled. Communication records, financial transfers, witness statements from wolves who'd seen Celine meeting with rogues. The pack murmured, but Selena remained calm. "These are forgeries," she said. "Obviously fabricated by someone trying to discredit me. Perhaps by that Omega you've brought into our home." She looked at Kira with false pity. "I understand she's confused, perhaps even mentally unstable from whatever trauma she experienced. But to suggest that I, your Luna and the mother of your child, would betray you, it's absurd. Is it?" Kira stepped forward. "Tell me, sister, when did you plan to tell Theron that the child you're carrying isn't his?" The hall went silent. Celine's mask slipped for just a moment. "What did you just call me?" "Sister." Kira let her power rise. Let her wolf shine through her eyes. "Did you really think I wouldn't remember? That the spell would hold forever? I don't know what you're Celine Nightshade, daughter of the Northern Alpha King, my twin sister." Kira's voice rang through the hall. 5 years ago, you made a deal with a dark witch. You let rogues into our palace. You murdered our parents and used blood magic to steal my identity, my power, and my scent. You tried to make yourself into me because you couldn't stand being second best. "That's insane," Celine hissed, but her hands were shaking. "I'm Luna Celine of Silvercrest. I have no sister. I'm not—" "Prove it." Kira shifted. Her silver wolf emerged in a flash of moonlight, larger and more powerful than any Omega could ever be. The pack gasped, some dropping to their knees instinctively. Silver wolves commanded that kind of reverence. Selena stared at Kira's wolf with undisguised hatred. "No, I burned that out of you. I took everything." She stopped, realizing what she'd said. The hall erupted in chaos. Before anyone could react, the air split open with a crack of dark magic, and a woman appeared in the center of the hall. She was ancient and terrible, with eyes like black holes and power that made everyone step back. The dark witch who'd helped Celine. "My payment is due," the witch said, her voice like grinding stone. "You promised me your firstborn, Selene Nightshade. The spell is complete. The debt must be paid." Selene's face went white. "No, no. That was if Kira died. She's alive. The deal is void." "The deal was for your sister's power and identity. I delivered. Now you deliver." The witch's smile was horrifying. "I'll take the child when it's born, unless you'd prefer I take something else. Your remaining power, perhaps? Your life?" "The child isn't even Theron's," Selena screamed, her composure completely shattered. "It's Marcus's. I seduced him months ago to have a backup plan in case Theron discovered the truth." Marcus staggered back like he'd been struck. "What?" But Celine wasn't done. 5 years of lies and manipulation came pouring out in a hysterical torrent. "Yes, I killed my family. Yes, I stole Kira's identity. I deserved to be queen. I deserved the power. She was going to have everything while I had nothing. It wasn't fair. None of it was fair." She turned to Kira, tears streaming down her face. You were always the special one, always the favorite. I just wanted what should have been mine. The silence that followed was deafening. Theron's voice, when he spoke, was utterly cold. Selena Nightshade, former Luna of Silvercrest, you are hereby stripped of your title and your position. You will be held accountable for regicide, fraud, use of dark magic, and treason against both the Northern Kingdom and this pack. No! Selena lunged toward him, but guards caught her. You can't! I'm pregnant! I'm your Luna! You were never my Luna. Theron looked at her with disgust. And that child is not my responsibility. You'll face justice for your crimes. And if the Dark Witch wants to collect her payment. He looked at the ancient woman. That's between you and her. The witch smiled. Indeed it is. She vanished, taking Selene with her. The former Luna's screams echoed through the hall even after they disappeared. Kira shifted back to human form, exhaustion crashing over her. Theron immediately wrapped her in the cloak he'd brought, pulling her against him. It's over, he murmured into her hair. It's finally over. But as Kira looked around the hall at the shocked faces of the pack, she knew it wasn't over. Not really. Selene was gone, but her allies in the Northern Kingdom remained. The rogues who'd helped her orchestrate the coup, the puppet government that had taken over in the absence of the royal family. Kira had her memories back. She had her power back. She had a mate who looked at her like she hung the moon. But she also had a kingdom to reclaim. And this time, she wasn't running. If you're still listening to this story up to this point, why don't you subscribe to this channel to continue getting impactful daily stories like this? We would be most grateful if you can do that to help boost this video to reach everyone. Thank you. Chapter 5. The Dark Witch materialized again 3 days later, and this time she came for blood. Kira was in the garden behind Theron's chambers, trying to find a moment of peace after the chaos of the tribunal. The pack was still reeling from Selene's confession, and Kira was exhausted from answering questions and accepting tentative apologies from wolves who'd believed her sister's lies. She sensed the witch before she saw her, a cold wind that carried the stench of dark magic. Princess Kira Nightshade. The witch's voice slithered through the air like smoke. We have unfinished business. Kira's wolf surged forward, protective and ready. I made no deal with you. Ah, but your sister did. The witch circled her slowly, and Kira noticed guards converging from all sides. She offered me both twins, the powerful one for the identity spell, the jealous one for the betrayal curse. 2 payments for 2 services rendered. Selene is in your custody. Take your payment from her. I already have. The witch smiled, revealing teeth that were too sharp. But a deal is a deal, and blood magic demands balance. You were promised. You are owed. Touch her and die. Theron emerged from the chambers, and Kira's breath caught. She'd seen him angry before, seen him protective. But this was different. His eyes were pure wolf, no human left in them at all. Power rolled off him in waves that made the ground tremble and the guards stumble back. He was going feral. Alpha King, the witch purred. How delightful. But this doesn't concern you. The girl was promised. Theron moved faster than anything Kira had ever seen. One moment he was 10 feet away, the next he had the witch by the throat, lifting her off the ground. His claws extended, piercing her papery skin. She is mine. The witch laughed, even as black blood dripped from where his claws dug in. So protective, so fierce. But you can't kill me, Alpha King. I'm bound by ancient magic. Theron ripped her throat out. The witch's eyes went wide with shock as her body began to crumble, turning to ash that scattered on the wind. Her dying scream echoed across the garden, and then she was gone. But Theron wasn't coming back. His wolf was in full control now, his humanity buried under layers of feral rage and protective instinct. He turned to the guards, snarling, seeing them as threats to his mate. They backed away quickly, and Marcus was shouting orders to clear the area. "Theron!" Kira approached slowly, her hands raised. "It's okay. I'm safe. You protected me." His golden eyes locked on her, and for a moment she wasn't sure if he recognized her. Then he moved toward her with predatory grace, circling her, checking for injuries. His growl was constant, low and dangerous. "Everyone out," Marcus ordered. "Now! Clear the entire wing." The guards fled, and Marcus followed, leaving Kira alone with a feral Alpha King who had just killed a dark witch with his bare hands. "Theron," she said again, softer this time. "Come back to me." He pressed his nose to her neck, breathing deep, and the growl intensified. She realized he was scenting for the witch's magic, making sure none of it had touched her. The mate bond between them was blazing, almost painful in its intensity. She could feel his wolf through it, wild and fierce and absolutely convinced that she was in danger, that he needed to take her somewhere safe and never let her go. "I'm okay," she whispered, running her fingers through his hair. "You saved me. You killed the witch. I'm safe because of you." His hands gripped her waist, pulling her against him. The feral snarl softened into something almost like a whimper. "I need you to come back now." She cupped his face, forcing him to meet her eyes. "I need my mate. Not just the wolf. I need Theron." She pushed everything she was feeling through the bond. Trust, safety, love. The golden cord between them pulsed, and slowly, so slowly, she saw humanity creep back into his eyes. "Kira?" His voice was rough, barely human. "I'm here. I'm safe. You protected me." He shuddered, burying his face in her neck. "The witch. She wanted to take you. I couldn't let that happen. You didn't. You killed her. It's over." But even as she said it, she knew it wasn't true. Theron's feral episode had been triggered by a threat to his mate, but the violence of it had scared even his own guards. Word would spread. People would question whether he was stable enough to lead. And she still had the Northern Kingdom to deal with. As if summoned by her thoughts, Marcus appeared in the doorway an hour later, after Theron had calmed enough to shift back to fully human. "We have visitors," he said carefully. "Northern Pack representatives, 3 alphas and their advisors. They're asking to see Princess Kira." Kira's heart clenched. "How many?" "About 50 wolves. They've been traveling for days, apparently, ever since word spread that the lost princess had been found." She looked at Theron, who was still holding her hand like she might disappear if he let go. "I have to see them. Not alone." His grip tightened. "I'm coming with you." The Northern delegates were waiting in the formal reception hall, and the moment Kira walked in, they all dropped to one knee. "Princess Kira Nightshade," the eldest alpha said, his voice shaking. "We thought you were dead. We mourned you for 5 years. And now you've returned to us." "Please stand," Kira said softly. "All of you." They rose, and she saw the hope in their eyes. The desperate need for a leader, for someone to restore what had been lost. The Northern Kingdom has been in chaos since the coup. the Alpha continued. The rogues who helped your sister installed a puppet government. They've been bleeding our resources, killing anyone who opposed them. We've been waiting for a sign from the moon goddess, for salvation. He looked at her with reverence. You're that sign, princess. You're our queen. The title hit her like a physical blow. Queen. Not princess anymore. Not maid. Not Omega. Queen. She didn't know what to say. These wolves needed her. Her people needed her. The kingdom her parents had died for needed her. But Theron's hand was warm in hers, and she could feel their bond singing between them. I need time, she said finally. Time to consider what's best for everyone, for both kingdoms. The Alphas looked disappointed, but nodded. As they filed out, Kira felt the weight of impossible choices crushing down on her. That night, wrapped in Theron's arms, she felt something shift inside her. At first, she thought it was just emotion, grief and stress and overwhelming responsibility. But then she recognized it for what it was, life, new life, growing inside her. Theron, she whispered, I'm pregnant. He went absolutely still. Then he rolled to face her, his hand splaying across her still flat stomach with a reverence that made her throat tight. When? The night you went feral, I think, when the bond completed. She covered his hand with hers. We're going to have a baby. His expression was pure wonder mixed with terror. You're carrying my pup, our pup. Then the terror won. You can't go back to the Northern Kingdom. It's too dangerous. The rogues will try to kill you. You have to stay here where I can protect you. Theron. No. He sat up, his wolf already starting to surface. I just got you back. I just found you. I can't lose you to some revenge-hungry rogues or political assassination or... She kissed him, cutting off his spiral. What if we didn't have to choose, she said when she pulled back. What if we united the kingdoms? He stared at her. What? The Northern Kingdom needs a leader. Silvercrest needs a strong Luna. I'm pregnant with your child, the heir to both territories. Her mind was racing now, pieces falling into place. We could unite them, create a single kingdom that's stronger than either one alone. It would give my people the protection they need and give your pack access to the northern resources. That's never been done before. A lot of things have never been done before. She smiled slightly. Like an alpha king mating a starving Omega who turned out to be a lost princess. Theron was quiet for a long moment. Then he pulled her close, his hand still protective over her stomach. If we do this, we do it together. You don't face those rogues alone. You don't reclaim that throne without me beside you. I wouldn't have it any other way. The decision was made. The next morning, they would announce the unification to both kingdoms. But fate had other plans. Selene escaped that night. The guards found her cell empty at dawn, the bars bent by what looked like dark magic. Blood was splattered across the walls. Not hers, but theirs. 2 guards dead, 3 more injured. She had help, Marcus reported grimly. Someone from the outside. Someone with access to serious magic. The remaining rogue leaders, Kira said. The ones who helped her with the coup. They need her alive to maintain their hold on the Northern Kingdom. Then we hunt her down. Theron's voice was deadly calm, but Kira could feel his wolf pacing through their bond. We end this. They didn't have to hunt far. Selene came to them. She appeared 3 days later in the Great Hall during the formal announcement of the kingdom unification. She materialized in a flash of dark magic, flanked by a dozen rogues with red eyes and malicious grins. How touching, she said, looking at Kira's hand resting on her barely swollen stomach. A happy little family, a united kingdom, everything I should have had. You had your chance at happiness, Kira said quietly. You threw it away because you wanted power more than love. Don't lecture me about choices. Celine's composure cracked. You don't know what it was like growing up in your shadow, watching everyone adore you while I was just the spare, the backup, the one who didn't matter. You mattered to me. I loved you. Love. Celine spat the word. Love didn't make me special. Love didn't give me power. So I took what I wanted, and I'm going to take it again. The rogues attacked, but they weren't expecting a silver wolf and a feral alpha king fighting side by side. Kira shifted, her wolf blazing with moonlight and fury. Theron met her tooth for tooth, claw for claw, and together they tore through the rogues like they were made of paper. The mate bond between them sang, their movements perfectly synchronized, each protecting the other without thought. Within minutes, the rogues were dead or fleeing, and Selene stood alone. Do it, she said bitterly. Kill me. Finish what you started 5 years ago when you survived my coup. Kira shifted back to human form, accepting the cloak Marcus handed her. I'm not going to kill you. Celine's eyes widened. What? You wanted power. You wanted to matter. You wanted to be someone important. Kira's voice was steady, though her heart was breaking. So I'm giving you exactly what you earned. You'll live as a rogue. No pack, no family, no home. You'll wander alone for the rest of your life, always looking over your shoulder, always knowing you threw away everything that mattered for power you couldn't keep. No. Celine shook her head. No, you can't. Please, Kira, please, we're sisters. We're twins. You can't do this to me. You did this to yourself. Kira turned away. Go. Before I change my mind. Selena's scream of rage echoed through the hall as guards escorted her to the border. Kira didn't watch her go. She couldn't. Theron pulled her into his arms, and she let herself break just a little. You showed mercy, he murmured. I showed her the consequences of her choices. That's not mercy. That's justice. 6 months later, the coronation was beautiful. Kira stood in the throne room, the same one where her parents had died, now restored and gleaming, wearing a crown of silver and sapphires. Her stomach was round with twins now, and Theron hadn't let her out of his sight for weeks. You're fidgeting, she whispered as the ceremony droned on. You're pregnant with my pups in a room full of hundreds of wolves. His hand was possessive on her lower back. I'm allowed to fidget. She smiled. The feral episodes had gotten better, but he still went adorably overprotective every time she so much as stumbled. Yesterday she'd tripped over a rug, and he'd carried her to the healer despite her protests that she was fine. Alpha King Theron and Queen Kira of the United Territories, the officiant announced, and the crowd erupted in cheers. They'd done it. Against all odds, they'd united 2 kingdoms, eliminated the rogue threat, and created something new and stronger than either territory had been alone. And Kira had kept her promise to herself. The first law she'd passed as queen was the Omega Protection Act. Shelters for low-ranked wolves, guaranteed meals and housing, strict punishments for anyone who abused those weaker than themselves. No one would suffer the way she had. Not in her kingdom. That night, alone in their chambers, Theron pressed his ear to her stomach. They're moving, he said with wonder. I can feel them. They're going to be trouble, Kira laughed. I can already tell. They're going to be perfect. He looked up at her, his eyes soft. Like their mother. Their mother was a starving maid 6 months ago. Their mother was always a queen. She just needed time to remember. Kira ran her fingers through his hair, feeling the mate bond pulse warm and content between them. She'd lost everything. Her family, her memories, her power. She'd been broken and remade. But she'd also gained everything. A mate who loved her fiercely. A kingdom that needed her. A future full of possibility. One of the twins kicked, and Theron immediately went still, his hand splaying protectively over her stomach. "They're fine," she said, amused. "They're just active." "Are you sure? Should I get the healer? Maybe you should sit down or lie down. Are you hungry? Thirsty? Do you need—" She kissed him, cutting off his worried rambling. "I need you to breathe and trust that I'm okay." He took a shaky breath, and she felt his wolf settle slightly through the bond. "I almost lost you," he said quietly. "So many times. I almost lost you before I even found you. But you didn't. I'm here. We're here. And we're not going anywhere." Outside the window, the full moon rose over the United Territories, a kingdom born from darkness and betrayal, but held together by love and an unbreakable bond. Kira had been a princess, a victim, a survivor, a maid, and now she was a queen. Not because of the crown on her head or the power in her blood, but because she'd learned that true strength came from choosing mercy over vengeance, love over hate, and hope over despair. She was Queen Kira Nightshade, formerly broken, now unbreakable, and she was finally, truly home. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe, like, and share this video to continue listening to this type of story daily, and also to appreciate this community too. I would like to hear your wonderful opinion about this story. Please comment below.